The sound of people talking and the clinking of plates filled the air inside Smokey's Grill, a small old diner in a rough part of Los Angeles. It wasn't fancy, but people liked it because the food was tasty, and the place felt warm in its own special way. In the corner of the diner, a man named Jason Statham sat all by himself. He had wide shoulders and a strong face. His eyes were always watching, even when he was just eating. He looked like someone who had been in many fights but didn't want trouble, unless trouble came to him. He was eating a big plate of ribs. The meat was covered in a sticky, smoky sauce that got all over his fingers. The lights above him were blinking a little, casting shadows on his face. Jason didn't mind. He was tired after a long, hard day of filming movies. All he wanted was to eat, rest, and be left alone. But trouble didn't care what Jason wanted. The door of the diner creaked open loudly. A huge man stepped inside. He was very tall, with a shiny bald head that glowed under the neon lights. His name was Darius Ironclad Briggs. He used to be a Navy SEAL, which meant he was trained like a soldier. But now, he doesn't have a job. He just wandered from place to place, always looking serious, always looking strong. Darius's hands were full of old scars, and he cracked his knuckles loudly, pop, 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 like little fireworks. The whole diner got super quiet. Everyone could feel something was about to happen. It was like the air got heavier. Darius didn't look at anyone else. He only looked at Jason. He walked across the diner with loud, heavy steps. His boots thudded on the floor like drum beats. People moved out of his way, holding their breath. Darius reached Jason's table. He didn't say hello. He didn't smile. He just grabbed Jason's plate of ribs, spat on the table, gross, and then slammed the plate back down. Some of the sauce flew onto the table and even onto Jason's shirt. The people in the diner gasped. Everyone looked scared. But Jason didn't move fast or get angry. He slowly put down his fork. Then he took a napkin and calmly wiped his hands. He looked right at Darius, his face serious but not yelling. "You've got some nerve, mate," Jason said in a quiet, strong voice. "Spitting on a man's food. You want to tell me why you did that?" Darius gave a loud, mean laugh. It sounded like a dog barking. "Hollywood fraud." Darius shouted so everyone could hear. "You act all tough in movies, Jason. But I know who you really are." Everyone in the diner started. Some people even pulled out their phones and started recording. "You remember Chicago, 2005? Darius asked, his voice sharp. "You ran away like a scared little boy. I was there. I saw it. You're not a real tough guy. You're just a fake one who runs when things get real." Jason's jaw moved a little, tight with anger. But his eyes didn't blink. He stared at Darius, calm and steady. Jason did remember. Back in 2005, in Chicago, there was a movie casting call. Darius had shown up to try out for a role. He was loud and too wild, swinging his arms and trying to fight like in real life. But movies needed careful moves, not wild ones. Jason hadn't laughed at him, but some of Jason's stunt team had. They chuckled and whispered behind Darius's back. That laughter had hurt Darius's feelings, and now, many years later, he was still angry about it. "You're carrying a lot of weight from that day, aren't you?" Jason said softly, but with a voice like steel. "Wanna settle this outside? No cameras. No fans. Just us." Darius grinned, cracking his neck from side to side. "Oh, I want the cameras," he said. "Let them watch. Let everyone see me beat you." Everyone in the diner jumped up and followed them outside. They spilled into the alley behind Smokey's, making a circle like a big group at recess. The lights outside flickered, and the night smelled like smoke and old pavement. Jason took off his leather jacket. Underneath, he had a strong, lean body, like someone who trained every day. He didn't become a movie star just by acting. He worked hard, trained hard, and practiced every move again and again. Darius was even taller and heavier. He bounced on his toes like a boxer, his fists already up, ready to fight. He looked like a bear. Jason looked like a panther. Some people in the crowd cheered for Darius because he looked super strong. Others cheered for Jason because they had seen him win so many fights in movies. Darius charged forward, roaring like a train. His big fist flew toward Jason's face. But Jason was ready. He moved sideways, smooth and fast, like a shadow. The punch missed. Jason stepped behind Darius and gave him a quick tap on the back, just to show he could. The crowd gasped again. Darius turned and growled. He rushed again, swinging both arms. But Jason ducked, weaved, and spun. His body moved like he was dancing. He wasn't just lucky, he knew what he was doing. Every move had been trained and practiced. Jason gave Darius a light punch to the side. Not too hard, but enough to say, "I'm here. I'm not afraid." Darius got mad. He yelled and tried to grab Jason, but Jason slipped away again. The crowd was now cheering louder. Some kids on scooters had even stopped to watch. Jason stayed calm. He waited for the right moment. Then, Darius rushed again, throwing a big punch from above. This time, Jason blocked it with one arm, spun around, and used his foot to gently trip Darius's leg. Darius fell hard to the ground. Thud. Everyone was silent. Jason stood over him, breathing slowly. He didn't look mean. He didn't laugh. He just looked down at Darius and said, "It doesn't matter if you're big or angry. What matters is control. You don't need to prove anything by hurting people." Darius blinked up at him, surprised. He had thought Jason would laugh or walk away proud. But Jason didn't. Jason offered him a hand. Darius looked at it for a long time. Then slowly he took it. Jason helped him up. The crowd cheered, not because there was a winner, but because it ended peacefully. No one got badly hurt. That made it even cooler. Jason picked up his jacket, brushed off the dust, and walked back toward the diner. Darius stood in the alley, still breathing hard. His eyes looked thoughtful now, like maybe he was remembering something. Back inside Smokey's, Jason sat back in his booth. His plate of ribs was cold now, but he didn't care. A young server brought him a new plate, smiling shyly. "On the house," she said. That was really something out there. Jason nodded and gave a small smile. He picked up his fork again and took a bite of the warm, smoky ribs. The lights still flickered. The chatter slowly returned. Trouble had come to find him, but this time, he had handled it with skill, not just fists. Jason Statham wasn't just a movie hero. He was something more. He grabbed Darius's wrist and twisted it quickly, crack, and then hit Darius hard in the side with his elbow. Darius made a sound like "ugh," and breathed in sharply, but he didn't stop. He swung his arm wildly, throwing a big punch. It didn't hit Jason fully, but it did touch his shoulder a little, spinning Jason around just a bit. The crowd around them cheered loudly. Some people were holding up their phones, taking pictures and videos. The phones lit up in the dark. Darius looked at Jason with a mean smile and said, "You're fast, I'll give you that. But you're still fake." Jason didn't answer him. He stayed quiet, moving smoothly like water in a stream. He stepped around Darius's punches. Each punch missed him by just a little. But then whack! One of the punches hit Jason in the cheek. It cut the skin, and red blood started dripping down his face. The crowd gasped loudly when they saw the blood. But Jason's face didn't change. He didn't get mad or scared. He stayed calm. Jason suddenly kicked Darius in the knee, bam. And Darius's leg bent the wrong way for just a second. Darius growled, his pride hurt, and he jumped forward, grabbing Jason and tackling him to the ground. They both fell hard. The ground was cold and rough underneath Jason's back. Darius was big and heavy and landed right on top of him. Darius started punching him again and again. The punches were strong and heavy, and they hurt. But Jason didn't give up. He held his arms up and blocked the hits the best he could. He had been through a lot in life and knew how to take a beating. He had fought hard to be where he was. The people around them stopped talking and held their breath. They were watching closely. No one knew who would win. Then, all of a sudden, Jason pushed up with all his strength. He moved his hips and flipped Darius off of him. It happened so fast, it was half from muscle memory and half from training. Jason got back on his feet quickly. He punched up with a strong uppercut, bam, and it hit Darius right in the face. Darius's head snapped backward, and blood came from his lip. He wobbled and looked surprised. He hadn't expected that. But Jason didn't keep punching. He stepped back. He didn't have his fists up anymore. His hands were open, showing that he didn't want to fight anymore. His chest went up and down as he breathed, but when he spoke, his voice was calm and clear. "We don't have to keep fighting, Darius," Jason said loud enough for everyone around them to hear. "I know you're mad. I understand. But this isn't really about Chicago. This is about you." Darius stopped moving. His fists were still up halfway, but now he wasn't punching. His chest was moving fast as he breathed hard. Jason's words had gone deep. They didn't hurt like punches, but they hurt in a different way, in his heart. The crowd was totally silent now. The fight felt like it had changed into something else, something more than just punches and kicks. Jason's voice got softer, but he still spoke loud enough for Darius and the crowd to hear. "I didn't laugh at you back in 2005, he said. "It was my friends, my crew. And I should have stopped them. I'm sorry for that, mate. But Darius, you're a Navy SEAL. You've been through real war. You've seen things most people never will. You've been through blood and pain. Why does that one day still have such a hold on you?" Darius's shoulders dropped. His eyes weren't angry anymore. Now they looked sad. The fire inside him was going out. He wiped the blood off his mouth and spoke in a low, shaky voice. "You don't know what it's like, Jason," Darius said. "Coming back from war, feeling broken, trying to find a place in the world again. That show gig back then, it was my chance to show I was more than just a soldier. And your team laughed at me. They made me feel like nothing." Jason nodded. His face looked kind now, not hard. He didn't care about the blood on his face anymore. "I do know what it feels like to be nothing," Jason said. "I wasn't always famous. I used to be a diver, just trying to survive. I used to hustle on the street just to get by. I had to fight for every little chance I got. But Darius, you're a hero. You've saved lives. You've carried things most people couldn't. Don't let one bad moment, one laugh, define who you are." The alley where they fought was completely quiet now. The people around them didn't move or speak. They were all listening. Darius looked at Jason. He was breathing more slowly now. His fists opened up. For a second, it looked like he might fight again. His pride was still there, telling him to throw another punch. But something else was stronger, the truth in Jason's words. Slowly, Darius reached out his hand. His voice was rough, but steady. "I was wrong about you," he said. "You're real." Jason reached out and took his hand. They shook, and then they gave each other a short, firm hug. It wasn't a hug of friendship, not yet. It was a hug of respect. "It takes a real man to say that," Jason said. The crowd went wild, not because someone had been knocked out, but because something more important had happened. Two strong men had put their anger away. They had stopped fighting and found peace. People started to leave, still whispering about what they had just seen. It wasn't just a fight. It was something more. Jason walked back to his food booth. His ribs hurt, but inside, he felt calm and steady. Darius stood there for a moment. Then he walked over to and sat down across from Jason. Reggie, the old man who owned the booth, came out with a new plate of hot ribs. He put it down and said, "No charge. You boys earned this." He even smiled, a rare thing for him. Jason and Darius didn't talk much. They just ate. The only sounds were their forks tapping the plates. They weren't friends yet. But they weren't enemies anymore. Something had changed between them. Under the glowing lights of the diner called Smokey's Grill, they shared their meal. Two warriors, tired but alive, finding a moment of quiet in a world that always wanted them to fight. When they finished, Darius put down his fork. He looked at Jason and spoke softly. "If you ever need someone in a real fight, Jason Statham, you know where I'll be." Jason smiled and wiped some barbecue sauce from his chin. "Be careful what you say, mate. I might just come find you." And for the first time that night, Darius laughed. Not a mean laugh, not a fake laugh, but a real laugh. A laugh that was free and happy. The lights of the diner flickered just a little, but the moment stayed strong. It was peace, made from pain and punches, but peace all the same. If you enjoyed this story, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love hearing from you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on the next thrilling adventure or mysterious twist. Thanks so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.